Hello everybody. In the previous screencasts we looked at parsing XML. In this screencast we're going to look at parsing JSON. Okay, it's very simple. So we have another API very similar that you run the API. Let's make it a little bit bigger, screen a little bit bigger. I'm using Postman because it formats JSON better than the browser. So when I do it in the browser, you get it like this. It's not formatted yet. So but this one is beautified. It's better, looks better. So anyhow, so here it is. Is this an array? So basically, when you are parsing JSON, you have to ask yourself: is this an array or is it an object? This is an object because it's curly. See here, it's braces. But if it's a bracket, if it's not braces, then it's going to be an array. And we'll look at array example in a little bit. Okay. So now this was the pool parser. So we'll remove the pool parser code. We don't need all of that stuff now. Okay. And let's just we'll remove the try also. Here we are. Okay, good. So now to do the parsing for the JSON is very straightforward, really straightforward. So if I want to parse this, basically I first have to ask myself, is this a JSON object or a JSON array? So this is a JSON object, right? So basically it's a JSON. Here it is, JSON object. Here it is. This is the JSON object. And basically all what I have to do is just pass it the string that I have. So basically I say this is the root JSON object, for example, or I can call it the person JSON object. Person JSON object. Okay, equals new JSON object. Okay, and I will pass it the response dot body dot string. Here we are. And basically that's all what I have to do is basically to tell it that now it needs to be surrounded by a try catch because this can cause an exception, right? All right, so basically this is we can call this even the root JSON, or we call it JSON. Here it is. This is the JSON. So basically this JSON object is this. That's gonna be this. Now what I want to do is I will also create a new person. All right, here we are. And now what I need to do is get the name. So how do I get the name? I say person dot set name. I say JSON dot get string. Here is get string and its name, right? The name of the parameter is name, right? Here is name, right? That's how you get the name because it's a string. Now what do you want to do? Get the age, right? Person dot set age. Okay. JSON dot get. You can get string, you can get double, you can get integer, whatever you want to get. I'm gonna get it as a string. Get string, and I'm gonna pass it what? I'm gonna pass it the age. Okay, here we are. Age. Oh, here it is. Age. So basically that's how you get the age. Now we can also get the ID. Person dot get ID or set ID. Sorry, set ID to JSON dot get ID. Get string, and its name is ID. How do I name its name? It's ID. Here it is. It's ID. Age. Address. So now what I need to do is address now is not a string, is not a, so the address is a JSON object. So there is JSON object, I'll call it address JSON equals JSON dot get JSON object. Get JSON object, and the name of the object is address. Makes sense? So basically I can get this as a JSON object. So here is my JSON object. Now under it, I can just create a say person dot set address, new address. I can do that, yeah. Or I can create an address. I can say the address equal new address, right? And then I can set up all the parameters for that address. I'll say, for example, address dot set, for example, zip code equals the address JSON dot get string zip code. All right. And so on. That's the zip code. Then you have zip code is the last one. Let's say we set the state here. That's set state, and then this one is set city, and you also have set line 1, and this is line 1. This one is city, and this one is state, right? And then basically after you do all of that, you just set this address to an address, the address that you just created here, and you are done with parsing your person object. That's it. Log D, here is the person. All right, that's very straightforward. Now we run it. Let's look at the logcat, and it's not happy for some reason. Maybe I have some code that I left somewhere here. Oh, that's an XML, right? We need to make it the JSON, and it's person, right? So here is the URL. I can just copy the URL from here, paste it here, okay, and run it. Okay, and here we are. We got the person, and we got the name of the person, we get the age of the person, the ID, the address, and so on. So we are able to parse. Everything is perfect. Now what if we want to do the other one, which is JSON persons, right? So basically this one. So now you always have to ask yourself, the first thing you ask yourself is that the top element, is it an array or it's an object? You see, curly brackets, this is an object. Very nice. Then under it there is a persons array. See that? Persons array. So basically I could go here, fine. So this means that the top element is an array, is an object, which is okay. Now I need a JSON array. JSON array, I'll call it persons array, or maybe persons JSON, for example, right? Equals new, not new, JSON dot get array, get JSON array, called what? Persons. Make sense? So basically you go in, you bring in the root element, which is all of this, right? This is all of this. This is JSON. And then under it, I'm interested in the person array. Here is the person array. And the person array is just an array that gives you JSON objects inside it. Okay, so now I need to loop over this array. I'll say for int I equal to 0, I is less than person JSON dot length, right? And I plus plus. Basically that's what I'm going to do. Cool. All right. So now what we're going to do here is we need to also create an array list of person, and I'm going to call it persons equal new array list. So that's just an array list to hold the persons that I'm going to parse. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is that when the we need to retrieve, we're going to loop, right? And then basically based on this array, I want to retrieve the JSON object for this person, right? And then use this code to parse that person and then insert it in the array list. So now to retrieve this one, I already have the index I. So I could, and this is JSON object. I could say JSON object. I could say person JSON, okay, object equals the persons.json.get at index I. And you could see the get returns back a JSON object. Get JSON object at index. Here it is. I. Here it is. So it's going to return this JSON object. Now this JSON object, I know how to parse it. See, I can parse it using this. So basically what I could do, I can copy this code, put it here. And this is the JSON object. I'll just go here like this. Paste it here, here, and here, and here. Right? Because this is associated with this specific person, and this specific person JSON object, I'm parsing it the same exact way. And then basically here, after I am done, I say persons dot add the person that I just created. All right. So that's how you could parse. So basically we can iterate over the array. Basically here you get the array, JSON array, and then this is how you iterate over the array. And to retrieve an element from the array, you just say get JSON object from the array, and you get it from there. Now, if you are done, once we are done, we just say we print the persons. Let's see what do we get. Okay, it's not happy for some reason. Let's see, 59. It's not happy. It's not able to get persons. Yeah, we didn't change the URL. The URL should say persons here. Okay. And now here it is, person. We passed the first person, and we got the address for the first person, the second person, third person, fourth person, and so on. We're able to parse them. Very straightforward. So to go over this again, what we're doing is we are getting all of the JSON, right? And then you're traversing this tree. It's a tree, right? So basically you get the whole node, right? So basically it becomes this JSON object, right? And then under it, you know that there is, under the key of persons, there is an array. You see the square brackets? These square brackets signify an array. That's what I did here. JSON dot get JSON array, and I pass it persons. Now I have this JSON array. I can loop over that or iterate over that JSON array. I just say int I equal to 0, I less than the length of the array, and I plus plus. Now to retrieve one element from the array, I just use get JSON object over the array. So JSON, person's JSON is the array. I just get JSON object. It returns to me the person's JSON object, which is this, for example, one of them. And then one of them, I know how to parse it. I did it before. So basically, I just create a new person, and then from that person, I set the name based on the JSON object. This JSON object, I could get a string, which is the name. And I pass it the key value, which is name or ID or age, and so on. All right, so that's how you parse, and how you parse JSON is very straightforward. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.